Hey now, happy Friday or whatever day it is. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's your old pals Schramm and Cash. That's right. It's Derby Rocks. What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you, Cash man?
I'm great. Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a little while.
Got all these.
Well, I mean, it's really only been like 3 weeks since I've seen you in person. We did do the show
It's true.
before we went to Bob H.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
I mean, I still miss you. I'm not saying that I don't.
No,
I'm
I
just
get that.
saying.
Yeah, but it's been a while. So yeah, yeah, you went Bob H and that all that fun, and
All the stuff. Yeah, man.
I went to Philly last weekend, and it was like and we have this thing called the hockey playoffs going on right now, which have been
Oh,
overwhelming at
geez, those
times.
stinking Sabres are giving me a heart attack, man. My anxiety is not cut out for this.
Nothing like a 1-1 game going into overtime, huh? Oh man.
Ah,
I take that
yikes.
four goals in the first go in the first period, like that one game. That was fine. I
I
like,
much prefer it that
yeah,
way.
yeah, me too. It's funny when I was
Yeah.
down in Philly, man. They're playing Pittsburgh in the playoffs, and so I co-announced that those games that were the last weekend with a guy named not guy named Chris, who's the announcer for Bux-Mont, and he's like, where he's talking hockey with me, and it's like, I'm sorry, I only like the Sabres. I don't want to talk Philly. Got into some serious gritty discussions too. So,
Sure, we do
but
love gritty.
yeah, yeah. But then, yeah, they're still, I think Pittsburgh's up on them right now. So they got, but everything's still alive. And
No, didn't Philly just
oh, did they?
clinch the series last night? I think Philly won.
Oh, did they? To be honest with you, I didn't see the scores. So it's like,
Yeah, don't hold me to that, but I think Philly advanced.
oh, well, then they got to be happy then. Philly, is ready to go. I don't, yeah, they're not going to go far. Sabres are going to do it all. So, but yeah, it's a full
Well, I was
hockey.
gonna say, I think well, no, we'll either play Montreal or Tampa, so disregard what I was gonna say. But yeah, it is an exciting time if you're a fan of hockey, specifically in Western New York. The Sabres are in the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, and they're doing pretty well. It is 3-2 in favor of the Sabres in the series, so we're just one win away from advancing, and I think we're going to do it tomorrow night in Boston.
By the way, you are correct. Philly did knock off Pittsburgh last night and ended the series. But yeah, yeah, we're gonna do it tomorrow night. And it's like the thing is my daughter has been down at the arena for every game that not a ticket to go in, but to sit outside the.
Sure, yeah, they do the party in the park or party in the plaza, whatever they call it out there. I've wanted to do it. I was going to do it the other night, but it's also so late on like a school night, and the kid is just, it's hard to like start an activity an hour and a half away from home on a regular like school night
Yeah.
when, it doesn't start until 7:30.
Oh, you're right. And then
So,
also it rained on them, I think, one day, and it was cold.
oh yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So it's like my daughter there. I think it's called Canal Side. That's where they all hang out there. So
Yep, yep. So they do the party in the plaza, like literally right outside the arena till the game starts. And then once the game starts, everybody goes to Canal Side where they have like the food trucks and the screens and the whole bit.
in the beer.
And
And
the beer, yes.
in the beer. So
Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah, most
that's
definitely.
exciting because we don't get a lot. We don't get playoff hockey a lot in Western New York. So
I mean, and not in 14 years at least, that's for
yeah,
sure. So it's great to see. But I mean, as long as like the core of this team stays intact for a while, I think they'll be a powerhouse for some time. So it's great
they're
to see.
so good on the offense, man. It was like they're just a good offensive team. I like
Yeah, I
how good
mean,
their
they
hockey.
were won their division, so great to see first place in their conference or whatever. So yeah, really awesome.
Yeah.
Loving it. I will say we are just getting to be into the month of May. And of course it is very typical Rochester, we'll have our nice days, we'll have our cold days. But yeah, it's what it is, the weather for spring here in Rochester. It's pretty typical. So that is your weather report for this week. Same old, same old. We're gonna get to our weeks here in a minute, but not before we mention that coming up in our next segment, we have Yosemite Slam. Former Penn Jersey Roller Derby skater. I'm currently coaching with Bux-Mont Roller Derby. Cash was just down there announcing for them, had a huge game against Rock City Roller Derby. It sounded like it was very exciting, came down to the very end, nail biter. Sounds like it was a great game, so we're going to hear all about that coming up. But yeah, stick around for the second segment. Yosemite Slam is going to be on, and that is a great interview for you to check out. So stick around for that. But with that being said, Cashman, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your week? What's been going on, or your weeks? What's been going on with
It's
you, my man?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the last show we had Tugboat on with us, and so that
Yep,
was right after. I didn't really get to talk about it at all, but that weekend before that, I got to announce the Queen City versus Rock
Green City
City.
game.
Yeah, they had the A's and B versus the A's and B's versus the B's, and I got to do the stream, which was a lot of fun. It's one of the thing I've always noticed whenever I'm watching streaming games is whether they have commentary or not on it, and they usually don't. So I wanted to do that, and we did. So that was cool. And then after that, obviously, we had WrestleMania weekend. That's the weekend that you were at Bob H.
Yep.
Nothing spectacular about that. And then last weekend, I drove to Philly Saturday morning, called the game, pretty much drove back the next day, and but it was a blast. I hadn't done a Derby trip in forever, getting warmed up because trying to get some games in before I do the playoffs coming up in June, up in Waterloo, Ontario. And so I feel like I mean, I always say, I can go months without calling it and then it just comes back to me, but I just want to be in prime shape. So I
Well,
went,
have you messaged Pinky about next weekend yet?
I have not, I
Well,
have
you're
not.
slacking. You should.
Pinky is busy right now, in France, right.
Well, you got Wi-Fi in France, man.
They,
You can
they,
still.
they do.
Hi, honey. I see you. Hi, baby.
You
I
are
love you,
correct. They
son.
do. And France, yeah. And, they do. France is, if you wonder what I'm talking about, France it is the World Cup is going on right now. Uh,
Yes.
and I watched a lot of it today. I actually got all the scores. I don't even know if there's anything. There were a few close games, and most of them were like,
Yeah, there were a lot of games that were a lot to a little.
yeah, a shutout. In fact, that was
Jeez, never happens.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've never seen that before. So and I'm sure there's been, a shutout, but especially because they were short games that they were playing
Sure.
today. So, but the first day is done, and I've been watching. I enjoy. I see Pinky was calling the Canada game today, and we have so many people we know on the Canada team. There's so many people we know there.
Sure.
It's like super
Yeah,
exciting.
most definitely.
But beyond that, I'm going to be serving beer tomorrow for at the Red Wings game, Rochester Red Wings. That would be on Saturday morning. If you're going to come to the game, technically it's not morning; it's 1 o'clock afternoon. But I'm supposed to be there in the morning. Let's see if that works. But that so if you catch this, you might. Come on out and purchase a beer and tip. I'm doing it with Rock City. It's a nice fundraiser for them, and that's about the excitement of my week. Now, tell me, Bob H. Amongst
Yeah,
other things,
man. Sure. So yeah, it was just a couple of days before Bob H that we had talked last. I worked probably a couple more shifts after we had spoke. And then we pretty much traveled pretty early to Dover. It's like nearly like 7 hours, and then of course, we got to stop a bit more because of the baby and so on. But we made it to Dover, and pretty much most of us went straight to the venue. We played Penn Jersey at 5 on the second day of the tournament. The event did start on Friday. We didn't get down there until Saturday, but we did play Penn Jersey. Speaking of Yosemite Slam, we've always had a good thing with them. We've been playing them for about 10 years now. Another really great game. That was likely, I forget what the score is. It was likely our best spread against them, and we had actually beat them in the first half. So we went into halftime winning. And I don't know if they were just tired, if they were taking it easy on us, what the situation was, but they came back and pretty well doubled us up in the second half. So a pretty great game overall, but yeah, they definitely ended up beating us. I want to say by maybe like 100 or 70 somewhere in there, but pretty normal spread for a derby game, nothing to be too ashamed about. But our first night in town was pretty awesome. As you had mentioned, it was um, it was WrestleMania weekend, so we ordered a bunch of pizzas and we all crowded into the lobby of the hotel and actually projected WrestleMania right onto the wall of the hotel. And we had all of our team there eating pizza and hanging out, and then we had people from like Penn Jersey popping in and watching with us and our buddy Tyler from the Casco Bay area, one of the volunteers for Casco Bay, who has reached out to us a couple of times. He was really excited to hang out with us and watch wrestling with us because he's a wrestling fan but didn't want to watch alone, so he joined our party. And yeah, we just hung out and had a great time. And what was cool was just it was like a quiet night. We weren't pounding beers, we weren't smoking a ton of weed or anything like that. It was just really chill and hanging out literally in like the hotel lobby watching WrestleMania as a team. A lot of fun, a very cool night. Um,
Oh,
yeah, good stuff. We had an early morning.
I wanted to mention one thing. I saw Smash Ketchum last weekend. He's like the head official for Bux-Mont. So,
Oh,
and
sure. Yeah.
Smash talked about how he was talking. I said, "Well, how'd you guys played the Fear?" And he said, "Yeah, they got a lot of big guys." And it's like, and that, but he was saying he was like complimenting you guys like crazy. So I did
Sure.
talk to him a little bit after the game.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, I
he,
love Smash.
yeah.
Um, Sunday morning started early. We had two games on Sunday, so it was an early morning. We got up dummy early and made it to the venue just in time to start the day against Austin Anarchy, which is always, we've got a good thing going on with them too. We've had a couple of great games against them over the years. They're fun games. They usually beat us by at least like 150 to 200, but they're also, 15 ranking spots ahead of us or whatever the case is. So they're fun games. You've got folks like Freight Train and Cole and just so many good people on that team. Angus is a big individual. Just so much, S Payne, who's a ton of fun, who we've had on the show before. So just a lot of a lot of good people, a lot of talent. They definitely took our lunch money. It was a rough start to the morning, but a lot of fun. No worries. A few of us, myself, Dick, Oxen, of course, Double N and Anderson, we actually, because we were in Dover, New Hampshire, we went to the birthplace of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we actually went and saw like the street where the original like comics were drawn and stuff like that. There used to be a house there. It doesn't exist anymore, but there was a house where what Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman created the turtles. So there was like a sign and a sewer grate, like a decorated, like designed sewer grate in memory of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Really cool. We got a great picture of those that went. A very cool thing to kind of check out, considering I'm a big TMNT nerd. So that was really cool. Um, and then we ended the event mostly. We were one of the last games of the weekend. Ended the weekend against Casco Bay's B team, who were just so much fun. Now, granted, I will say we did win this game. It wasn't like a blowout or anything. I think we ended up beating them by 100 points exactly. But a ton of fun. They were great sports. There was some people that I got to see from my days playing with. Geez, who else was out there? Geez, the Dirty Dozen,
Dirty Dozen, yeah.
Pioneer Valley.
Pioneer Valley,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you. It took me a second, but I got there. So saw some friends who were with Pioneer Valley. Just really an awesome weekend. We did kind of sneak out of there pretty quick, just because we wanted to get home. We didn't necessarily want to stay another day, so we did get out of there pretty quick, and made our trip back. Um, it ended up being quite a bit for the baby. Just going down real fast and only staying for a day and then not really doing any baby stuff. But of course, because he's like the mayor, he had a ton of fun and got to hang out with Aunt Pinky and a bunch of other people. And we're very lucky that this boy is so loved, and we don't really ever have to worry about him, in like a big venue, and we can go play our games and know that somebody's gonna keep an eye on him and stuff like that. So I know it's pretty special for me. We definitely appreciate it. So a great event overall. Um, the event itself was awesome. A lot of really good vibes. A lot of great people. Well ran. Everything was mostly ran on time. Very, very clear expectations and things like that. But overall, yeah, great time. Great games. Even not too much to be, even a little bit upset about. So, two out of the three games didn't go our way. We did win the one game, but the other games that we lost, we were sort of supposed to lose, you know what I mean? And I know that's like one of those silly things that you say, but it's
Yeah,
a real thing, so
you're correct.
um, great event overall. Very happy, very happy. We have Cleveland coming up. We're going to play a couple of tough games against Cleveland and Virginia Men's Roller Derby, who is a new team looking to get their games to be MRDA, and our friend Sweets plays for them. So we've got that coming up. We've got, more than enough players, it sounds like, for a lot of our stuff coming up. And then next month, or I'm sorry, in 2 months, we have a game against Pittsburgh Roller Derby's B team. So this schedule was really put together just based on, like, quite honestly, low expectations, I didn't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Last year, I thought we could realistically like make a run at playoffs, and then we didn't necessarily have, our players because of personal reasons and X, Y, and Z. So this year, I just kind of went like, let's go play some teams that we like and have some fun. So that's what we're doing. All in all, lots of fun, lots of really cool stuff going on. Always working. A lot of that. We took the boy bowling for the first time. He didn't really do too much bowling, but mom and dad did, and we had a good time. Towards the end, after we had bowled a couple of games, we got one of those little ramps out and let him push the ball down the ramp, and he had a great time doing that. But dude, let me tell you, this boy is just like so smart and just doing all the things. And he's like walking everywhere and crawling everywhere, and talking, and yeah, it's just so freaking cool. We're so blessed. I can't honestly say enough about getting to be this dude's dad. It's really the coolest thing, and he's
Awesome.
such a good boy. So, he's honestly like sleeping through the night. There's times where we know that he's tired. I can literally just go set him in his bed and walk away like before he's even asleep. Yeah, he's just a great boy. It's really unbelievable. So, we got a lot of really good things going for us. We got a lot of good derby stuff coming up. Things are going well for old Schrammer time. It's hard to complain, my man.
Very good. That's awesome. Maybe I can squeeze a few scores in before we get
Yeah,
out of
why
here.
don't we hit a couple of scores and then we'll cut out some of that dead air from our interview. Things happen when you're in, probably a million-year-old building somewhere
Yeah.
before roller derby practice. So no hard feelings from our buddy Slam.
Oh.
But there was quite a bit of break. So we're gonna edit some of those out. So why don't you go ahead and hit some scores, my
So we
man?
got some scores last weekend closest. We've got Dirty Jersey beating the Hellions 152 to 146. We got ARD's Rumble Bees 144 over Memphis 124. Circle City losing to Chicago Style 103 to 82. We have Minnesota 114, Windy City 87. Gotham 121 over Montreal 91. It's Gotham, Montreal, and there's another team up there. They were doing a bunch of games. Dresden 159 over Dust City Rollers 129. Got some games this weekend that we're looking at. We got Detroit at Ann Arbor, Rocky Mountain at SoCal. We've got Maine at Twin State. We mentioned Twin State in the interview. Naptown at Lakeshore, River City versus the Big Easy. And South Bend Roller Derby is hosting a triple header Sunday at the Esther Singer Building at the St. Joseph's County 4-H Fairgrounds. Check that out. South Bend Roller Derby Sunday schedule includes the Bonnie Dooms versus Grand Raggedy Attack. Got the Studa Breakers versus the World at 2. Commanders versus Lafayette. Solar Flares at 4. South Bend Roller Derby, South Bend, Notre Dame. That's what you think of when you hear South Bend. That's where these guys play. Doors open at 11. Tickets are $18 at the door. For more information, you can check out their Facebook page. That is South Bend Roller Derby. Bunch of scores from today. There was a few close ones. I'll give the close ones. Argentina beat Australia 78 to 74. This is from day one of the World Cup. We had, but then there's crazy ones like France 295 to 0 over Wales. That was a little bit ridiculous. Canada 338 to 18 over Japan, and but tomorrow we'll get tighter ones tomorrow. We had France 300 to over to one over, looks like New Zealand. So there was a lot of great games. They were shorter games. They were like 15-minute halves with a 4-minute halftime. So just these are to create the seedings that will happen as we move on forward. But the closer one, there's the Netherlands 68 over Ireland 64. So there was some tight ones, 70
Some
Spain.
close ones. That's great
Yeah,
to see.
yeah, there was a few close ones, but yeah, there's much more tomorrow. And I want to send out a big heart to our friend Loki Doki because
Sure.
there's some derby drama that happened, and Loki's not part of the World Cup team. And hopefully everything gets straightened out. But we're big fans of Loki, and
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that
Listen to
out.
people, believe your friends, stand up against predators, do the right thing. Roller derby is no place for a lot of the nonsense that people have to deal with. And it's unfortunate to see. There's people who might be at the World Cup who probably should have taken a seat and not had Loki be the one to quit or or feel the need to step away.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've got a lot of feelings on that, but let's just stick with like believe people
yeah,
and do the right thing.
yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, we stand with Loki too. We're big fans, like you had said, so we are definitely in that corner. And yes, people should be held accountable. But with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get out of here? Don't be a crappy person. Do what you can to make people happy and do the right thing. We're getting out of here. It's your old pals, Schramm and Cash. You're listening to Derby Rocks.
Oh no.
Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, it's your old pal Schramm and Cash, and we are joined by Yosemite Slam. This is one of my favorite guys. He's been around forever. Used to skate with Penn Jersey Roller Derby. Is now with Bux-Mont Roller Derby, coaching and leading their team. We are excited to have Yosemite Slam on the show. How's it going, brother?
Good.
There you are.
I'm here.
Good.
I'm here. Everything's going
Perfect.
good.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we're
It's
happy to
been
have you on the show. It's been quite some time since we've really talked to you. I know Cash got to catch up with you at the game recently, but I'm excited to see you. Why don't you tell me your origin story and recap how you got involved in roller derby?
well. When I first started out, it actually turned out on Facebook. One of my old teammates from high school football, I saw him with a helmet and skates on, and I'm like, "What exactly are you up to?" And he's like, "Oh, I play roller derby up in New York." And I was like, "Okay." So I went and checked it out. Well, he played roller derby for what is now Firestorm. Used to be
Sure.
Man's
Yeah.
Ruin years ago, and I played there for a couple of years, and then decided to make the move down to Philly, like my second year in, I believe it was, because at the time I was more interested in all the bank track derby and all that kind of stuff, and
Sure.
it was a lot more exciting, a lot more crazy. And then from there, we slowly moved into playing with their MRDA. Like I was one of the first people on Penn Jersey who was like, "Hey guys, there's more games to be played out there." Like, because when we
Right.
were playing bank track, we're playing three different teams, and that was it. So I was like, "Hey, there's more games to be out there, and there's people that want to play." And so we started going to whip the scrimmages and learning the rule set and everything, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And then, I mean, I think I had like 8 more years with the hooligans, and it was a tough road in the beginning, but like anybody that knows roller derby, like a lot of times you don't have to win to move up. Like you just got to keep it close. And
Yeah.
luckily, we had enough tough guys. We had enough tough people on our team that we could just keep it close and move up. Like I think our first year and a half, we only won like 2 games, but we moved up in rankings quite a bit because teams were supposed to blow us out by 300, and they only blew us out by 100. So we'd get a jump there, and then we'd get a jump in another game and another game. And then it was fun to see over the years of progression, the teams that would beat us all the time, and then slowly the scores would get tighter and tighter, and next we'd meet them in a tournament and we beat them. Like we had a good round of games with Mohawk Valley for the longest time. Also with
Maelstrom.
Yeah, Mass
bear with me here, I'm
Maelstrom.
old.
Yeah.
Maelstrom, that's it. Yeah, we had some great showdowns with Maelstrom at ECDX,
Yeah.
and then finally we beat them. And then the coup de grace was I wasn't part of it because I was getting examined for breathing issues. But the coup de grace was beating New York Shock Exchange at the Mohawk Valley Cup. That was a big one. I was real happy to see that one because we took many beatings from them and by
Sure.
high scores, and to
Yeah.
finally beat them was great. And then of course the playoffs and all that kind of stuff like that was a whole nother can of worms. It was just so much fun to do. It
Yeah.
was neat to
No,
be
and
able to
you,
travel the countryside and play all the different teams.
yeah. No, and you were always great to play against. You were always a lot of fun. I miss seeing you out there. We just played Penn Jersey last week, and obviously, I always think about you. What kind of skating experience did you have when you had first started? Was it something you had done a lot, or were you relatively new to skating as a whole?
Yeah, no, I grew up at a place called Frenchtown Roller Rink. I still go there on occasion, but they were pretty much. It's probably one of the most immaculate wood floors you've ever seen
Sure.
because they groom like they. I don't want to say groom. They they build speed skating there. Like in the last, I think it was the last two Olympics, they had three skaters from their facility go to the Olympics. Like they got some top speed skaters coming out of that facility.
Sure.
So I grew up learning how to fast skate, and then learning how to do the derby stuff was a whole nother can of worms, just trying to figure that out. But it was fun. It was a great experience. The more I know now, and I try to preach it to my girls, like just listen to your body. Because when your body starts to hurt, you need to take care of it. And I didn't when I was playing roller derby. And I honestly think I cut my career short by not listening to my body.
Yeah, I mean that's like the MRDA, the
Like
stubborn way though,
I was telling Rich last weekend at the game, just this last year, I had a piece of one of my discs break off and lay on my nerves. And I had cramping from my hip to my ankle for like 5 weeks, and it was excruciating. And because it lasted for 5 weeks, it kind of created a little bit of permanent damage. And I'm slowly on the comeback from that, trying to get back to where I'm comfortable skating again. Because it's hard to coach a team when you can't show them what you want done because you can't do the footwork to do it, and it's driving me crazy.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're at least getting back to it. I'm glad to hear things are on the up and up. It's definitely back issues are the hardest things to deal with. Everything revolves around your back. So I definitely can understand and I feel your pain.
Yeah, it's one of those big boy problems. We carry the weight, but the weight also carries us, and
Yeah.
it's all fun and games till something goes wrong, and then it's big problems.
Hey, Slam, I let me ask you one. You obviously skated many years with the Hooligans. You also saw the league grow too, from just a few teams to quite a bit more. What was it like to be in those initial days in the beginning, back when MRDA started, and you only had a few teams, you had to travel a lot, but how does it feel like you feel like a proud papa a little bit because you were there in the beginning when things started to happen?
Well, to give you perspective, when we were still playing made roller derby, which is a whole different rule set,
Right.
my very first game we played. My very first game was 7-on-6. So I pretty much blocked the whole. The only time you got a break as a blocker is if you committed a penalty, unless you jammed, and then you got to sit one off. So it was a living hell. But as far as watching everything grow, like we came into Murda, I think probably about 3 or 4 years after it started, and by that time teams were getting pretty well established. Like Shock Exchange was established, They were one of the top dogs. Um, some of the Midwest teams were established, but like still to have, it was nice to have teams within driving distances. Like you could go to Rome, New York, you could go to Maryland, and it was nice to like we were kind of in the middle of everything, and it made it a lot of fun because we didn't have to fly. Like you didn't have to shell out the money to fly. You could drive there. Everybody carpooled. Like even when we went to the Canadian tournaments, we carpooled, and that it just made it cheaper.
Let's talk about, kind of the competition getting stronger and stronger. You had mentioned coming across like established teams, and seeing teams, grow and then eventually being able to like surpass them and beat those teams. What was it like to kind of start from the bottom and help build Penn Jersey? I know it's a similar question to what Cash asked about MRDA, but what was it like, being on the ground floor of the hooligans and so on?
Um, it was tough. I mean, we had our ups and downs with it, but once everybody started taking it more seriously, and they were showing up for the practices and really
Right.
putting the work in, um, it started to take off. Like I know, Chris, I know you'll remember him, and Rich, you might. T Ice, the tall,
Oh,
lanky
sure,
gentleman who
dude.
used to
Yeah, he
skate
was
with us.
huge.
Yeah, he was a big part of that because he really pushed us to be better, and not for nothing, he wouldn't take any lip from anybody at the same time either. Like if you gave something to him, he'd give it right back and give you an explanation why. But like he was a big factor in the moving up of the team and the epicenter of the team when we were moving up. Plus, we had a bunch of just great hard nosed guys that played the game. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Dudley Durong.
Might have been before me.
He played in the early Hooligans days. I know he played at Mohawk at one time. That guy was like straight out of the Marines, refused to use toe stops, and was a raging madman. But man was he fun to play with because that kid could backwards plow stop better than most people could freaking stop with their toe stops, and it was a spectacle to see. And then we had Zombie, which I know you guys know.
Yeah, Zombie was cool,
Um,
man.
like back in the day when we were finally starting to grow into it, we had two different lines, and we called one the Adderall kids, and we called the other one the tuna fishing line. And the tuna fishing line was the line I was in, and it was me, Rolla J, Zombie, and Pappy Two Skates, who's still skating. Good, which I say good for him. But our motto was hook the fish, take your time reeling them in, wear them down, and then throw them in the boat. Like we just took like we were so big we took up the track.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I think our one we added it up one time. I think it was like 1,500 pounds worth of blockers. Like it was big. But then the other line was all the small guys, Ratchet, T Ice, and the smaller guys, and they just ran around like madmen chasing everybody down. Where we're like, nope, they're just not going to get through.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you did mention T Ice. I remember, didn't he live in Elmira or something? I know he traveled like 3 hours every time he went
Yes,
to
yes,
practice. Yeah.
yep, he still lives there. Yep.
I remember because
That's
Yeah, I'm pretty
his
sure
wife's
he's.
involved as well. I know that,
Well, his wife played for the Dolls of Destruction, and that was one of the other fun parts of it was um, coaching against him when I coached Bux-Mont and he was coaching the Dolls of Destruction. So that made like a nice little side rivalry out of everything.
Let's talk a little bit about your transition to coach. You had mentioned if you don't take care of your body, can kind of cut down on your playing career. I definitely understand how that can happen. I think a lot of other people have similar issues. But let's talk about that transition to coach. What really pushed you in that direction?
I've always wanted to coach, and like there was a few times at Penn Jersey, like where T couldn't show up and they let me coach or one of the other guys coach. But like I've always had a bug to coach, and honestly, to start, I always wanted to coach wrestling, but I couldn't because I didn't have the college education. Like to coach high school wrestling or be involved in high school wrestling, you had to have so many credits in college to be accepted as a coach at the time. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I think I've been doing this roller derby thing long enough, and
Yeah.
I've been coming to Bux-Mont just to get extra wheel time in, and then finally they had uh, they had an opening, and I started coaching with them, and I've been with them for 10 years now. This is my 10th year with them, and it's been a hell of a journey. I mean, I was just looking at going back and looking at stats today, and the first 2 years we struggled to get with the rankings because back then it was a royal pain in the butt. But then after that, I think it was 2018 is when we finally got our rankings, and then we just slowly started moving up here and there, and we've been clawing at the rankings ever since.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about being a coach?
Honestly, watching them grow, watching the skaters grow, teaching them stuff, and then watching it, and you can see it in their face when it registers in a game. Because I'll never forget, like the first year or second year I was coaching, I I kept telling them just sit. When they come into you, sit, get your butt in their thighs so it's harder for them to push. And then once they got their butt lower and sat into the block, the one girl comes off the track and she goes, "I get it now. I understand what you're talking about." She goes, "It totally
Yeah.
registers what you're trying to get us to do because they're blocking with straight legs and the jammer's just pushing around the track like a bulldozer. Well, you drop your butt and get it in their thighs, they can't do that. It takes away their push, straightens their legs out, and they can't unstraighten them. But like the growth is a big one, and just the the camaraderie of the players and watching them learn to work with each other. And like Chris, you work with Flower City. Sometimes you can have a group of great players, but they don't work good together. So you got to start
Sure.
rearranging the combination like a combination lock until you find the right combinations, and then all of a sudden it all comes together. And that's the heart. That's the part I love. It's a big rolling puzzle, and you got to figure out how to
Yeah.
put that puzzle together as quick as possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a great description. I really like that. Um, we anywhere in Derby, there's difficult personalities, or some people speak up more than others and things like that. How have you managed to go, 10 years and dealing with this group and handling difficult personalities throughout the years?
Oh, it's
Is it
it's
years?
definitely been interesting. The biggest thing I learned out of the gate is when I was still playing and coaching. I had to learn to teach myself. You have to play like you want them to practice. So if I went out in the game and got six penalties, and they went out in the game and got six penalties, and I said something to them, they were like, "Well, you did too."
Right.
Very
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, what makes you keep coming back after all these years? But you've had a long career, and you still have some love in it. So what's the thing that makes you want to come back every time?
The love of the game and the players that appreciate it. Like when the players show their appreciation and like they put the work in, then it's worth coming back. And it's just like it's how do I put it? It's really is an orchestra of stuff, but like once you can get everybody on the same page, you see it all click, and like you're like, oh, okay. Well, like for a perfect example, like last year we had some problems, but like the two teams were on different levels, and I was like, all right, we got to like you can't practice two different styles. Like you all got to practice the same style. It'll work, trust me. And then this year, the Valkyries, I think they've won every game so far because they're playing the same level of blocking and offense and all that the Sirens are. So it's just like if you want to work as a team, it's easier to move somebody up or down if you're all doing the same thing. If you're doing different things and somebody moves up, then you got to spend 3 weeks training them to do the higher level stuff, and it's no good. You got to have everybody on the same page, because that way it keeps it. It might take some longer to learn, but when they get it, they'll understand, because they can just jump right into a line and it's not a problem.
Very cool. So I saw you the first MRDA game I ever saw in my life was Mass Maelstrom and the Hooligans at ECDX, and I believe it was the first time the Hooligans beat Mass Maelstrom. It was like it was. I'm pretty sure that was it, and and I remember because my baby daddy was there, and we were talking with him after the game. But that was one of those highlights of, for me, first time seeing MRDA. How about you in your career? What is something that stands out as like one of those moments where it's like, man, you know, the adrenaline was flowing after this moment in your career? Is there anything in particular that that you remember that you know, just when you think fondly back on?
That was one of them. Like, anytime you get a chance to play at ECDX, it was always amazing. Whether you got your butt handed to you or not. But beating Maelstrom, do you remember what track it was on? Was it on the middle track?
I think it was on the one.
I think it was.
I'm trying to remember. It was either that, or I think I've seen you guys play a couple times, but it was like I thought it was on the first one of the 3 in a row. So it was like an early game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the first time we beat them. That was when I got Gaudette to melt down on me, because I've been watching him long enough, and I knew his routine when he'd try to hit somebody big. He'd come from a certain angle, and then if it didn't work, he'd go to the outside of the track and then try to come in. And he came in, hit me, went to the outside of the track, came in, hit me again, and I dropped him. And I just looked down at him real nice, and I said, maybe next time you should bring friends. And he lost his mind. And afterwards, he said to me afterwards, he goes, I've never had somebody, I'll just say S, talk me like that and have me lose my mind so bad that my own wife sat me, because he just melted down on the bench. That was one of the more fun ones. Honestly, one of my fondest memories was on a total whim. The one year at Mohawk Valley Cup, they had a team drop out, and there was a makeshift team put together called we're the original replacements. I still have the jersey at home, and I got a poster I made at home from that weekend. And we finished 3rd in the tournament, and the only reason we lost the game is because we played Shock Exchange first, and we didn't have a groove yet. But in that group of people, you had Wild Style, who now plays with St. Louis. You had Dirty Frank, who played with Maelstrom and Casco Bay. Who else? There was a whole slew of them. Kenny Cloud Kicker, I don't know if you remember him from Maelstrom. Yeah. He played in that game. But that was like the most laid back but aggressive fun I ever had, because just the level of guys that came together to fill a team to play in that tournament was just outrageous. And it was so much fun to play in. And like a couple of the guys, and I still keep in touch with, but also too, you were saying my baby daddy. One of the fun parts about coaching now is last year I coached against my baby daddy. He brought Twin State down to us, and we played them. And every once in a while, we played Strong Island last year, and Jeff Reed from New York Shock Exchange was coaching them. So it's like you still run into those old-time players, but in a different aspect.
But it's like the alumni, you know. I want to mention one more thing. I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
So
no, you're good.
Last weekend, you know, going into the last jam of the game of Rock Stars versus Bux-Mont, Rock Stars were up by 2, and you were using strategy. I could see it the way I could. You know, how did you learn, like, you know, the strategy behind coaching? Because it's like, you guys ended up having a great jam and then winning the game, and it was a great win for Bux-Mont. But where's those things, those things that you learn, calling those timeouts, in the last second and doing the official reviews, because you guys are a very active coaching team.
Yeah. With official reviews, I'm mostly against them. They honestly, if you ask me, they piss me off. Unless, and like I always tell my blockers, because they come off complaining like this, that, or the other thing. I was like, do you have a star on your head? No. Are you bleeding? No. So I'm not calling official review. I was like, I know it sucks, but suck it up. Unless I can add or take away points, I'm not going to call an official review.
Yeah, I don't do them for blockers.
But at the same time, yeah. Sorry, guys, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
with the strategy of it, the last two times in the Rock City game last weekend, I think there was the one where I did call a timeout and I went out on the floor and I talked to the girls, and Bee Sting was jamming. And I looked right at the girls. I said, all right, you girls are the ointment. Let's take care of the Bee Sting. And they just looked at me. I was like, just do it. And I put out a group of girls there, like three of my tougher girls and one of my fastest girls. Like, I'm sure you got to notice it throughout the night, but the Iron Butterfly that skates for me, little tiny thing.
Yeah.
She comes from figure skating. She comes from figure skating. She can accelerate backwards in about 15 feet and match the pace of anybody trying to come past her. And I wanted her out there because I knew if Bee Sting broke out, she'd be able to get a piece of her, and she did. She knocked her out on the first try and brought her back, and then she's just one of those girls that even one-on-one, she will make your life not fun. It's just honestly, like, the whole thing is just reading the game and figuring out who's the problem for you and figuring out how to combat that problem. That's the big one. It's just figuring out how to combat the problem. Like, all right, if you got a jammer running over us, all right, we got to come up with a jerk or an A line, as you would say it, to shut that down.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Great job.
What kind of coaching goals do you set for yourself?
I tend to set the goals higher than the girls think we can do. But like they realize it's only making them better after a while. Like 2 years ago, we played Black Rose, who I think is now 5th. Well, we took a royal butt kicking on that one. And this year, Ohio contacted us about a sanctioned game, and we're like, "Are you sure you want to play us?" And they're like, "Yeah." We're like, "Okay." So we went up there and took another round of butt kickings. But like, a lot of my girls do realize that sometimes a humbling will make you stronger and come out harder the next round. And it's done, and we've done that in the past. Like when we got beat by Black Rose, we came out and we're just looking to just murder everybody we get our hands on because they had a different attitude about it. Like, okay, that's not going to happen again. But like, as far as putting stress down, a lot of my girls don't realize I've been trying since the year before COVID to get a game with Rock City. And we kept getting turned down because of our rankings. And like I told the coach at the coaches meeting this year, I was like, well, I finally forced your hand, and here we are. I said, because now we're both right in the same wheelhouse within five rankings. And he was cool about it. But like, sometimes if somebody doesn't want to play, I'd be like, all right, I'll see you in a few years, and we'll do it that way.
Sure.
But after the game, I guarantee we can get another game with them next year, almost guaranteed. Just because of how exciting it was. But like for the game myself, that particular game, because I've been working on it since before COVID, That was such a huge adrenaline dump. I couldn't even think about Derby on Monday or Tuesday. Like, just couldn't even fathom it because I was so exhausted. I felt like I ran a marathon and I just couldn't recover from it because that game meant a lot to me. To work on that, and there's only a few people that know how much I've been trying to work that game in and know how badly I wanted it, and that was huge. Like the girl that jammed that final jam, she's a pivot. But the only problem is, like when we played Pittsburgh last year, she put up 22 points in like 3 jams. And then when we played Ohio, she put up 33 points in 3 jams. And it's just one of those. Do you use her as just a hard nosed blocker, or do you use her as a jammer? And sometimes you gotta ask him to do both. And she pulled it out for us. Like even her, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
So you said that your pivot pulled it out for you, which was great.
Yeah. Even earlier in that game, I don't know if you noticed, Rich, my pivot was in the box and then came out and still scored 16 points. So that's why I knew I wasn't worried. I was like, all right, if she gets a penalty, she's still going to come out swinging. And she did what I expected her to do. And that was just poetic justice right there.
All right, Slam, I want to thank, I know that we're getting close to the end, but before, this will be the last thing I mention, at least. Thank you for the 2 nice shirts you gave me. Thank you so much. I'm like a dummy. I packed everything but a nice shirt to go with all my, so I would have been like shirtless with a tie around my neck. I don't think anybody wanted to see that, but thank you. Those are wonderful shirts. I cannot wait to wear the pink one next. So, but I thank you. Thank you.
Wear them with pride.
Thank you for your kindness. I appreciate it immensely. It was great coming down there. It was a lot of fun. I would love to do it again. So,
No, we enjoyed having you, bud. Definitely
Before
enjoyed
we let
having
you go, brother, before we let you go, I want
Yeah.
to know what you think the future of roller derby looks like.
That's a tough one. Like honestly, like I'm a firm believer in like grow a team. I mean, I know some of these teams are struggling and they got to borrow players and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's just some of these teams are borrowing players, but they still got 30 people on the team. It's like use the people you have, and like we're lucky. Like we had some skaters return to us that hadn't been here in years, but they wanted to play for me, and which was great. And then we were able to absorb some old Brandywine skaters from back in the day, like that Iron Butterfly came from Brandywine, Evil Beauty came from Brandywine, and so did Rat and Lurs Lemon. Lurs played for Dutchland and then Brandywine, and then she went on to play for Rose City, and then she moved back to this area. And I was lucky enough that she wanted to play with Evil Beauty, so she joined us. But as far as the future of it, I hope it keeps growing. Like it's. I don't know. I don't know. I got mixed feelings about the rankings going back to one ranking again. I kind of like the regions because
I think a
it
lot of
doesn't
people
necessarily
do.
mean you're the best in the region. Doesn't necessarily mean you're the best in the region, but it gives you a little bit of hope. Like you know what I mean? Like right now, I think with the live rankings, we're sitting at 38th, and we're one behind Philly. Now, if they go back to the old school rankings, they'll probably drop us down to like 80 something and keep Philly where they're at because they've been there for so long. And it's just like, come on, we worked our butts off to get here. Like, just let us have some. Like, honestly, I'd love to see D2s come back because that way it'd give us something to really fight for. Because like we're right on that edge of okay, if we work a little bit harder, we can make D2s. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, then we'll just keep plugging away with what we're doing. But like, I'm not exactly sure how much further up the ladder this team will go, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, keep
I mean,
pushing,
they have the
brother.
heart, but it's just a matter of like the teams are getting tougher and tougher. Like Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, of course. We appreciate you for coming on. Thank you so much. We love hearing from you. You got a lot of great opinions that I think we all agree with. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. I'm glad you had me on.
Yeah, thank you. And you got
Awesome.
practice coming
Hopefully
up.
we'll
I'll
see
see
you
what other kind of
soon.
clothes I can drum up for you.
Oh, I appreciate that. You got practice in 20 minutes, so we didn't keep
Yep.
you too long. So thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Yep.
See you, dude.
No, thank you for the timeline.